Welcome to writingalong.com. Today's episode is a little different. Usually it's geared towards creative writing, that kind of development. And in a sense, this still is. I think all writing is creative writing. And when it comes to writing your goals, it really is essentially breathing life into what they are and what they can be. You'll see that when you write something down, it becomes a little more real. It becomes, because it's in front of your face. It's something you can, if you wrote it on a paper, you can feel it, you can touch it. Versus just something in your thoughts. You know, it's real in the sense that it exists. Yeah, electrical neuron impulses are actually occurring within your brain, but this transformation process from bringing them there outside, it's like the first step. It's like reaching your hand out and just say, "Here, come with me," and bringing it into this world. It's something that a lot of people underestimate. They don't really count what it really can mean for themselves. Most people write goals down on accident. They're not doing it very consciously. You know, they'll just write what they want on the phone or something, like a notepad or something. And then, you know, something might happen where that leads them in that direction. Again, they don't really attribute it to that because they didn't know. But I'm here to tell you, writing stuff down it's this connection to this world that, as far as I know, no one really fully understands. It's just there. You know, when you have that sense of there being more to the world than you can really see in front of you, not in this loose spiritual sense that can't really be defined. I mean, like practically right now, what you can feel. Don't you perceive and sense that there's more to life than what you can just see with your eyes? Don't you just feel certain things that otherwise don't have any logic? Your emotions go different places that make no sense. I'm telling you, writing things down is the bridge between that world and here. In front of us, what you're seeing in front of you right now, what you're hearing in your ears right now, what you're reading, that kind of stuff. You can create that bridge and open it up, open multiple up, simply by writing. It's not some crazy pseudo-science secret. No, I mean, it's legitimately real. It's something that happens, something that people do every day. Why do you think people write down their goals to begin with? Why do you think companies write mission statements? Successful multi-billion-dollar empires have some kind of statement. It doesn't have to be profound. You know what Google's was when they started? Don't be evil. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading that, right? There's always some kind of, it could be in a joke, in matter. It doesn't have to be this profound thing, but you say it and you make it apparent. You make it beyond just the thought. Most people are just thinking about stuff. How many people are actually writing them? Your worldview will dictate how you find out, how you figure how this works. But I'm just here to tell you that it does work. I wanted to write a book. I wrote down, I'm going to write a book. I wrote a book. I wanted to live where I live now. I wrote it down. I live where I live now. There's so much other stuff I would tell you. And I'm not a quick believer in this kind of stuff, okay? I'm not just, if someone tells me something and I naively believe it, or, you know, confirmation bias. I'm aware of this kind of stuff. And I know you are too, because you're a highly critical person as well. Aren't we all writers? We're just incredibly critical of everything that comes our way. That's why we always have something to write about. That's why we always have something to say. So, as someone who's debating writing down your goals, what do you have to lose? If you're so logical, if you have these wagers in your mind that you have that are like you apply to everything, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? What does 10 seconds of your day, what is that going to take away from you? Go ahead and write down your goals. And I want you to come back to this video, or don't. You don't have to. I don't need for you to come and tell me and be like, this is what happens, what happens. If you want to, cool, I'm here to listen. I'd love to hear. But I want you to find it out for yourself what happens when you write down your goals. It's hugely impactful, and again, it's one of those things that people don't really emphasize just how important it is and how significant it is, because your thoughts are a little unstable. They're like these little flashes. If you look at it under a scanner, right? It's just like this burst of energy, this burst of light and electrons, whatever you want to call it, however you want to conceive of it. But that is what's going on. And the second you use one of those bursts, it's like you photograph one. You know, you take a picture, you get that white flash on one of those old ones, and even modern ones, they have this incredibly complex process. But really, it's at its heart, it's simple, and that's what you're doing with your mind. You're taking a photograph of that thought, of that goal, and you're saying, I saw it. Your thoughts are glimpses of reality before they happen. Your body, your brain, your eyes aren't the only organ that are perceiving things. I have my eyes closed, something touches my hand, I'm able to feel it. I know it's there. I have my eyes closed, I hear something, I know it's there. And it may just be a recording of it. You know, like there's so many other complexities and dynamics and nuances to it. But the fact is, I'm able to perceive things sometimes ahead. You ever have an intuition? Have you ever had a sense of something coming? Yeah, you're getting little visual images. You're getting pictures of what it can be, what it can look like, what it might have been, all that stuff. And when you write things down, you're photographing it. You're making it even more real. It's like creating proof, like creating evidence. And some people might say I'm a little out there for making this video. I'm going a little too far into the abstract, but I don't think so. I do not think so, because I've just seen it happen too many times. You can write whenever you want. If you really think that it's something you can achieve and accomplish, that's the nature of a goal. It's something that you can reach. Write it down. You want to be president of the United States of America? You want to go to space? You know, because we think in extremes too, right? As you're like, here's something completely free, something that you can do on your own, and there's still all these doubts that arise. Well, why should I? You know, why should I? What if I want to go to the moon? You know, am I going to write that down and I'm going to go? Without taking it to such extreme detail, write that down. See what happens. You're going to get a very clear visual image of what it looks like and what it means for you. And because of that, it's going to become something. It's going to become more real than it was previously when it was just in your head. What does going to the moon mean now? Why did you say that? Why did you even think of such a goal? Sometimes your goals, and when you accomplish them, and it's not exactly always what you think it looks like once you get there. It may look completely different once you arrive there. And that's exactly the point in terms of, you know, accomplishing them and seeing the fruits of them, seeing what they can become. Your goals will evolve, and you're going to see it from a different dimension. You see you see in dimensions. You don't just see flat, you know, you don't just see something like two-dimensional. There's so much more. There's a perception of time going on. That's another one that adds on, and you don't even actually see with your eyes, but you know what's happening. Same thing with your goals. When you write them down, you bring them into this multi-dimensional world from whatever was going on in there. I'm not saying that was flat. I don't know what that is. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers, but I know what the results can be and what they look like. So when you do that, you're going to see that your goals become dynamic. They become changeable. They actually physically interact with things that are going on, because now that you see it in front of you, you're going to see it develop in your brain. And you're going to have a reference point that you can refer to. Like, oh, this is what it looks like from this angle. And you may rewrite your goals. And that's another example of that, of just putting it into a higher focus, a higher sense of what it is and what it can be. Writing down your goals, there's a lot to it. You know, it could have just been write a 2-minute episode, 30-second episode. Write down your goals. Okay, what would that have been? You've heard that a million times. I haven't heard someone talk about it like this, and I hope whoever sees this, whoever watches this, whoever comes across this video, I hope it encourages you to write them down, because living example here. In a lot of ways, I can put it that way. And for other people that I've seen in my life as well, it's a living example, and it's something that you yourself take credit for. Sometimes you can't, though. You know, sometimes it's just like, wow, you won't credit me. I don't credit the people who told me to write them down, but it's just this beyond this. And it makes your world a little bigger. The way you see things becomes a little wider when you realize, wow, I thought I understood what I wanted when I wrote down that goal, but I actually accomplished that goal, and now it means something else. Whoa, it humbles you. It sits you down, which is where you want to be, because that's when you're really able to see and take a break. That's where you're really able to rest and see what's really going on around you in your life. Your goals, when you come up with them, there's a reason for them, and you're not always going to know that deeper reason, but it's going to come to light. It's going to come to view. It's going to appear in your depth of view in your own life. And that's why I want you to write down your goals. Not really for any other reason beyond that, just because it's a valuable thing to do, and I want you to do it as well. I want you to experience what it can do for you, and know that it's not just some BS like self-help stuff. Like, go ahead and write your goals, and, you know, like, feel happy and feel good about it, and All your dreams will come true. If you write down you want $1 trillion and someone will hand you a check for it tomorrow, you know, that kind of stuff. Like that, it sounds appealing, right? But it doesn't last. It's not something you carry with you in your life. I want to give you something that you keep with you, because you'll see what I mean when you experience it yourself, and you probably have. Let me know in the comments too. What are some of your goals? What are some goals that you're going to write down? What stops you from writing them down? What prevents you from? You think they're impossible? If you think they're impossible, write them down anyways. Isn't that an act that's still very proactive? It makes no sense. You'll never be able to get there, you might be thinking. Well, you wrote it down. How many people actually did that? Very few. So what does that mean about you, the person who wrote it down? What is that saying about yourself? What is that saying about what it can be, what it can become? You won't know until you write it down. So this year, not just this year as a New Year's resolution, I mean today, right now, write down your goals. You don't have to share them in the comments, but share the ones you're comfortable sharing in the comments. Let me know. Check out on my website. I have a guide, how to write a book in 30 days, everything you need to know to get started. It's at writingalone.com. Let it sit in your inbox, let it haunt your inbox, let it just remind you that to write your book, because you can write one. Nothing's standing in your way at all.